Hello there and welcome to a brand new lesson. This is How Beyond Numbers, where we learn maths the easy way. In this lesson, we are looking at question number 5 of the WASSCE 2026 Mathematics Paper 2. On the left-hand side are answers to the trial questions that I gave to our previous lesson. You can always compare it to your answers to check for accuracy. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to calculate probabilities using given fractions and proportions. Be able to find the probability of multiple independent events occurring together. Be able to find the probability that none of the events occur. And finally, you should be able to apply the multiplication rule for independent events. Without much ado, let's quickly look into it. So as you can see here is the question number 5. Let's read it together. It says Atakrom, Obokrom and Maakrom are communities in a district. The probability that it will rain in Atakrom is 3/4. The probability that it would rain in Obokrom is 2/3 the probability of raining in Atakrom. The probability that it will rain in Maakrom is half the probability of raining in Obokrom. The first question says you have to find the probability of raining in Obokrom. Secondly, in Maakrom. And then we have to calculate the probability that it will rain in all communities. And then it will not rain in any of the communities. This question is on probability. And when it comes to probability, there are some formulas we need to know. When you have events occurring, now for event A and then event B, for them to occur together, that is for event A and event B to occur together, if we have the probability of A and we have the probability of B, all we do is to multiply. Now, you should also know that the probability of an event occurring plus the probability of it not occurring equals 1. Hence, if you have the probability of an event occurring, if you subtract it from 1, you are going to get the probability of the event not occurring. You see? And then finally, in this case, we have 3 communities. If you want the probability of all these 3 events not occurring, then we would have found the probability of A not occurring, the probability of B not occurring, and the probability of C not occurring. This is an AND statement. So probability of A not occurring and probability of B not occurring and the probability of C not occurring. We said for AND, what do? We multiply. So for all these 3, we are going to multiply them all together to find the probability of the 3 events not occurring. With these formulas, let's then solve our question. Now, for simplicity's sake, I'm not going to write this Atakrom, Obokrom, and then Maakrom. I'm going to use letters to represent. So since I don't want to write all these in full, then all I'm going to say is we let P of A simply be what? The probability that it will rain in Atakrom. Then we are going to say probability of O and then probability of M would be that of Obokrom and then Maakrom respectively. So now that we have these parameters, let's then write what we have in the question. So the probability that it will rain in Atakrom. So we have probability that it will rain in Atakrom to be what? 3/4. So 3/4. Now the probability that it will rain in Obokrom. So for probability of it raining in Obokrom, we're told it is 2/3. 2/3 of what? The probability of it raining in Atakrom. So that is 2/3 of it raining in what? Atakrom. And we know the probability of it raining in Atakrom. That is the 3/4. Hence, we are just going to multiply. You see, so that is 2 over 3, then times 3 over 4. We know what we do when we are multiplying fractions. So all I'm going to do is this 3 cancels out this 3, and then 2 into itself once, into 4 twice. Hence, what do we have left? We have a 1 times 1, which is 1, and then 1 times 2, which also gives us a 2. Hence, the probability that it rains in Obokrom is simply 1 over 2. And that is all. The first question is answered. So you'd realize that this question is not only testing your knowledge on probabilities, but then you are also being tested on how to interpret word problems. You see? So let's look at the second one as well. The second one says the probability that it is raining in Maakrom. So probability that it rains in Maakrom. We were told that the probability that it will rain in Maakrom is half the probability of it raining in Obokrom. Half of it raining in Obokrom. So if you want to write that in expression, it's going to be 1 over 2 times the probability of it raining in Obokrom. Now we have just solved that of Obokrom to be 1 over 2. It simply implies we have 1 over 2 times 1 over 2. This time around, there is nothing to cancel out. Hence, 1 times 1 gives us a 1. And then 1 times 2, 2 times 2 then also gives us a 4. As simple as that. So the probability that it will rain in Maakrom is simply 1 over 4. Now, question B, I says we should find the probability that it will rain in all communities. So for all communities, how do we go about it? For now, we know the probability that it rains in Atakrom is simply 3 over 4. The probability that it rains in Obokrom is also 1 over 2. And then the probability that it rains in Maakrom, as we have solved, is 1 over 4. It simply means if you have solved any of them wrongly, it is going to affect this one you're about to solve. So for it to rain in all communities, we are going to say all communities. So all the rain in all communities simply means it rains in what? Atakrom, in Obokrom, and then in Maakrom. You see, and that as an expression is simply the probability that it rains in Atakrom times, or we can put and the probability that it rains in Obokrom, and then and the probability that it rains in Maakrom. You see, so at this stage now we can write its formula. So remember when we started, I gave the formula that is going to be what? Probability of it raining in Atakrom times the probability of it raining in Obokrom, then times the probability of it raining in Maakrom. Now, since we know all of these values, let's just do a substitution. So we have a 3 over 4 times 1 over 2, and then times the 1 over 4. There's nothing to actually cancel out. Hence, we have 3 times 3, 3 times 1, which gives us a 3. And then 4 times 2, which gives us an 8. Then 8 times 4, which also gives us a 32. Now, we can't cancel out. So we just conclude by saying the probability of it raining in all these communities is 3 over 32. That is all. Then we move to our last question. The last question says, calculate the probability that it will not rain in any of the communities. This is an interesting one. The probability that it is not going to rain in any of the communities. Now, the probability that it will not rain in any of the communities, that is, the probability that there will be no rain in any, is simply the probability that there is no rain in Atakrom, no rain in Obokrom, and then no rain in Maakrom, right? They would say it is what? The probability that there will be no rain in our Atakrom and no rain in Obokrom, and then no rain in what? Maakrom. This is what it means. But mathematically, how do we write this? So probability that there is no rain in Atakrom is written as probability that is P of A prime. We know what the end is by now, so it is multiplication. Then P of O prime, and then times P of M prime. Now the issue here is, how do we calculate these primes? That is what we did in our previous session. We said the probability that an event does not occur is equal to 1 minus the probability that it does occur. You see, so for probability that A does not occur, it is 1 minus the probability that A occurs was 3 over 4. So 1 minus 3 over 4. And 1 minus 3 over 4 gives us a 1 over 4. You see, then we do the same for probability that O is not going to occur. So probability that O is not going to occur is also going to be 1 minus probability that O occurs. When we solved for O, we had 1 over 2. So that is going to be 1 minus 1 over 2, which is also a 1 over 2. That is a 50% chance. Then the last one, probability that M is not going to occur. It will be 1 minus probability that it occurs, and the probability that it occurs was 1 over 4. Evaluating this gives us a 3 over 4. So we have the probabilities that all these events are not going to occur. So substituting this then gives us the probability that there will be no rain in any is there going to be equal to no rain in A, which is 1 over 4. So 1 over 4 times no rain in O, which is 1 over 2. Then times no rain in M, which is a 3 over 4. Simplifying, we have 1 times 1 times 3, which also gives us a 3. And then 4 times 2, which is an 8. 8 times 4 gives us 32. So this also implies that the probability that there will be no rain in any of these communities is simply a 3 over 32. And that ends question number 5, which is very, very simple and direct. Now, as usual, I'll leave you with some exercises based on what we have done, so that you try to test your understanding. So these are 5 questions based on all we've done so far. You can try a hands-on just to test your understanding. The answers will be reviewed at the start of the lesson, of the next lesson. Let's have your numbers where we learn maths the easy way. If there's any issue of concern, you can always let me know at the comment section. And when notified, I'll address that for you. If this is your first time on this channel and think it will be of help to you, you can choose to subscribe so that anytime I release a video, you'll be notified as well. See you in our next lesson, where we look at question number 6 of the WASSCE 2026. Bye for now, and do stay safe.